and I guess it was a rule that everybody had to come out, and they brought their cars out. Geez, I mean, once you get them all, out there, how do you corral them all? You know what I mean? It'd be a pain in the butt to corral them all back and get them back up in there.
Well, we do the same thing. Not every weekend, but, we have opportunities for the fans to come down, meet the racers, get all the race cars out there so they can get up close, touch, look, feel, see what it's really all about without having the fence and 50 feet between them.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about you, but, man, that used to be one of the highlights for me was, getting in there, feeling the heat radiate off the car, sticking your head in there, nothing like frame and cage paint and 90 weight and all that to get. I mean, it's nothing. I mean, it's nothing like it, man. I mean, nothing. It's pretty awesome. But So what about 15? Has the track made any change? Have you done anything to the racetrack or the stands or anything?
There's constant improvements going on. We've been working on the lighting so that the racer experience should hopefully be a little bit better this year. More races, bigger races. We're going to do a weekend that hasn't been done in Northwest Racing in a long time, and we're running the King of the Wing series. I don't know if you're familiar with Davey Hamilton and the Winged Sprint Car series.
Super modified?
Yes, 410 Winged Sprint Cars. They did it in the Midwest and in Southern California. We're going to do it at Evergreen this year, the first weekend in August. We're going to run sprint cars Saturday nights on the 3/8s and then Sunday on the 5/8s. And we're also going to run our super late models in conjunction with them. So we're going to run super late models Saturday night on one track and Sunday on the other, along with the sprint cars.
Wow.
So yeah, it should be a pretty exciting weekend of racing. Put a lot of pressure on the racers and really see who's a cut above the rest.
Yeah, who's the dealio for sure.
Yeah.
So you got Hamilton. I mean, there used to be a guy, Rebel Jackson and all them. I mean, who's left? I mean, over east, I think Spokane or Boise or whatever, they seem to run them more than they do around here. But.
Oh, no, we still got some, top flight racers. Jojo Helberg came from the Midwest last year to our Rory Price Memorial race. Hopefully he'll come back again this year, but we got Matt Hine, grandson of Don Hine. Sierra Jackson's been lighting the world on fire. So there's some really talented racers around here. Jeff Montgomery comes down from Victoria. We've got some pretty talented sprint car racers in the Northwest.
Wow, yeah. I mean, you see them on dirt. Are some of these guys double duty guys? Do they run both, or is it
some of them? But I think most of the guys now, it's getting more and more specialized. So you see most of the pavement guys stick with pavement, and the dirt guys stick with dirt.
Just like any sport now, right? Used to be 3-sport athletes were a dime a dozen, and now you got to pretty much pick one and stick with it. But wow, that's awesome. So we kind of talked about the conditional late models. So do you see or do you think or do you feel any big changes are necessary for late model racing here in the Northwest?
No, as long as things are going in the right direction and the sport's growing, the car counts are growing, and the fan interest and sponsor interest is growing, I think big changes would probably be a mistake.
Right. If it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of deal, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so... That being said, is there, and we kind of talked about the cost, but there's really no way to police the cost, right? I mean, you can do a spec tire, you can go to a sealed motor, they got the crate motors now, but crap, then you got guys that can massage, like Garrett fired one up when I was painting his car, and I said, there ain't no way that's a crate motor. Are you kidding me? And he lifts the hood, and sure enough, it's got the little short valve covers on it, and I mean, this thing sounded...
Well, the crate program really did help out late model racing. It made it more accessible, more affordable to a lot more guys. It's ripe with cheating. It puts a lot of pressure on the racetracks and tech people to catch the cheating. But anytime you can take a racing program and eliminate $45,000 engines and give them $10,000 engines, things should be a little bit better. And so it really did help grow the class.
Yeah, for sure. So they're up to $10,000 now. Is that what? Because I know some of them they were, I don't know, $4,500. That GM one that you got.
Well, by the time you outfit it with all the parts that it needs, it's realistically, yes, it's still a $5,600 piece, but it needs pulleys and carburetors, clutch, bell housing, and by the time it's in the car, it's $9,000-$10,000.
Yeah. And I just got to ask you this because it just came to my mind. But did you race against Shane Biles?
Oh, yeah, many times.
Yeah. quite a guy, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's a heck of a racer.
Yeah, for sure. He's one of my faves, and he's a big supporter of me. I know that, and so yeah, Shane Bob. I saw him this weekend, and they kind of had a tough road to hoe, but boy, you're right, they do go racing, man.
Oh yeah.
So what about I know Ron Sutton had his little series going, right, and then there was some. I don't know. There was some BS that he could no longer do that. Man, was that a shot in the arm for local drivers and stuff to get a shot?
I'm not really familiar with what Ron Sutton's program was. I was kind of doing the Pro 4 thing at the time, and that was a little bit off my radar.
Okay. It was kind of like, he had, I don't know. I mean, it was like was it a school? I don't even really know if it was a school, but guys like Keegan Walmer and some of them went down there, and they got to run the, they had the Focus.
The midgets.
Yeah, the Ford motors in them and whatnot. So you think that's something that would work up here? I mean, I know they do a little bit of that up here. Do they not?
Yeah, Galen and Carla Stewart have been trying to get a midget program off the ground for a couple years, and it's going really well on the dirt, I believe. And they've been working really hard to get it going on the pavement, but unfortunately it hasn't had quite the same interest. But as long as it's growing, as long as it's growing somewhere, we're in support of it.
Absolutely. So, and now with those Ford motors, I mean, it might be too similar to the Pro 4s or whatever, but would that work in a late model?
Well, yeah, that would be a Pro 4 type program.
Yeah,
and racers just guys that race super late models want to race what they want to race, and that's full blown high horsepower, top speed.
Right. Well, I know they had a Canadian class. What was it? It was almost like I want to say it was like an open class. I think they allowed up to 430 inches, and they just weighted you to death. If you had the big stuff, but I don't know. Open racing deal. That's a whole nother can of worms. I mean,
well, I'm a big fan of open style racing. I mean, when I first got started, that's what late models were: is no rules. Just an engine and a carburetor and 4 tires and go race, and whatever you could do with it was great. But that's, it's a lot more expensive now. There's a lot more technology involved, and so that type of racing it just priced itself almost out of existence.
So now, did you run with Baumelli?
Oh yeah, Brian Baumelli back in the day, sure.
He was one of those big motor guys.
Oh, yeah,
he always had some nasty stuff, but
he sure did.
Yeah. So wow, that's pretty good. My question: have you ever run on dirt?
Yeah, I started in the dirt. In fact, I started in go-karts in the dirt, and I raced a little TQ mini sprint stuff. So yeah, I raced a sprint car for a little while back in the early 2000s. So yeah, I wouldn't say as much as I would like, but yeah, I've got some dirt experience.
Dude, you're kind of like you're like a vet, dude. Like, wow, yeah. What was cool was, I think it was 95, 96. Garrett was at Portland. Garrett's my hero, man. I mean, forever. So I show up one day, and I just put a new Oldsmobile body on my dirt car, and I come to Portland not knowing any better, and here's Garrett, and he's got an old body. I mean, I was just going, yeah, this is great. But I asked him, I said, hey, you ever run on dirt? Nope. And I said, you want to come run my ride? And he said, I think he thought I was joking at first, but he said, yeah, I'll call you next week. So I did. I know what he thought. He thought it was a a POS little, you know what I mean,
sure.
weight jacker thing.
Yeah.
And he got there, and he was kind of blown away. But the thing that was crazy was never been on the dirt, jumps in this thing, and I told him, I said, now remember, it's probably not going to have as much motor as you're used to, but do you know? Never been on dirt. That dude went 4/10 quicker than I ever went in the car, and it just ticked me off.
Yeah, he's an excellent race car driver. There's
wow.
no doubt about it.
Yeah, just unbelievable. So, do you have any aspirations to get behind the wheel again, or are you still? Or
I do every once in a while. We ran a super late model over at the Fall Classic at the end of 2013. Went back east, raced a NASCAR style modified at Lee USA Speedway. So when I have the opportunity, I like to get back in and run a race or two here and there. Yeah.
Yeah. I will tell you, I follow you when on Facebook, and for a while there, you were really ticking me off because, you were everywhere. You were at all the cool places, and I'm like, man, this Cunningham, man, how's he doing this? You know what I mean? It was actually starting to tick me off because here's the pictures, and man, I'll bet that was awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah. I got all the way out of racing for a couple of years there, and for me, that was a big mistake. I'm a racer to the bone. And so I was fortunate enough to be able to go to some of the places that I've always wanted to when I got back into it, including, Stafford Springs in Connecticut and Five Flags in Pensacola, Florida, for the snowball derby and some of the stuff like that. So I was fortunate and got to go see some of those places.
That's my dream race is the derby.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's really something to see. I highly recommend it.
So, and while we're at, we got about 5 minutes left. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Tim Chase, Scott Smith, Scott Warning. Man, he's the Ohio State UAS administrator, and the Rocket, Ronnie Cox. You know Ronnie pretty good.
I know him. I haven't spent a lot of time with him. I have a lot of respect for him as a racer. I'll tell you that. I'd like to see him in a sprint car.
Hear that, Rocket? Old Cunningham thinks you might have some skills. Do you want me to tell him otherwise? But anyway, so what can fans expect when they come to Evergreen Speedway?
Just a lot of entertainment. We run a tight show. We keep the classes moving. We don't let it go stale. And then a lot of activity and just a good show from start to finish.
So is there something there at Evergreen that you think sets you apart from maybe some of the other racetracks?
The hospitality. It's Doug and Tracy Hobbs have done a fantastic job of really putting entertainment and fun back into a racing program.
Question: did you ever go to Portland back in the day?
Oh yeah, many times.
Way back, or how far back?
Probably 1978 or 9.
Okay, so you've had an ale burger, right?
Oh yeah.
Is it for me, that's the measure.
That was pretty good, I have to agree.
It absolutely was. That big pile of grilled, I mean, it was, even that goes with that smell, you know what I mean? When there's just that stale, what was it, hams or whatever it was, that was, it needed to be $5, but after 2 of them you were good.
Yeah.
But, so do you still have the cool snack shacks like that?
Oh, yeah. And in fact, High Road Promotions got the food contract for the first time last year at the track, so we have all kinds of variety. The quality of the food has really been stepped up. Prices came down, and just all kinds of different things. A lot of it cooked on site with top quality stuff, so it's really well done.
Awesome, man. It is the quickest on the web. I tell you, we've been talking with Chris Cunningham, and man, we got just a couple minutes. If you got a quick question for him, slam it on the chat line there, and we'll take a peek. Renee Angel, you remember Renee?
Of course, I remember Renee. We started racing, I think, on the same day.
Yeah. Well, she didn't take. Oh, what did they say? Shane Smith says Deming Speedway Burgers. Did you call them anything? Are they like ale burgers, or are they Evergreen burgers, or are they?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
There we go. Okay, that's your homework, guys. Cunningham needs a name for their new for their burgers there. So come up with something cool, and maybe you'll be famous. Well, hey, I guess good luck the rest of the year. I know we've been threatening about maybe getting me up there to do something. I would love to do that.
Yeah, we'd love to have you come up.
Yeah, I think it'd be a pretty cool experience. Something I've never done. It'd be pretty cool. But no questions for man. We don't talk about burgers. Ask Cunningham a serious question if you want to know. Some of you guys are getting up there, getting ready to go late model racing. Who's going to win it this next year?
Oh man, I don't think I should be putting any guesses out there on stuff like that.
No, okay. Well,
as a race director, I should probably keep it to myself.
Yeah, that's cool. What do you think of Brandon Schreiber?
He's an excellent race car driver. He got his first win in a super late model this year. He's done a very, very impressive job.
Yeah, he's a good kid too. Mr. Excitement. That he was super exciting on a go-kart, fun to watch, and
I could see that.
Yeah, he was awesome. Boy, Molly Helmuth's got a good thing going on. She's boy, I hope it's a good deal for her. It really is, and she's worked hard at it. It looks like she does a lot of her own stuff. So
yeah,
congratulations to Molly Helmuth and Mike and the whole clan there. They do a good job. Yeah, super. Hey, Chris Cunningham, appreciate you being on the show, man. And for sure, we'll have to